YouTube, how's it going? Welcome to a very special and exciting video. I kind of thought about how could I do a tier list while accounting for everybody and have it also be a short-ish and not a super long video. So I thought I'd do a really fun video today going through every position and grading the best money spent player, the best no money spent, budget beast, and then honorable mention for every single position. Now, my favorite card in the game right now might be showing up in this tier list, but I want to hear from you guys in the comment section about who some of your favorite cards are. In particular, I love on stream to talk about everybody's Mount Rushmore. So if you want to comment your 4 favorite players from MLB The Show 22, I'd love to hear that feedback. But let's jump into the tier list, starting with starting pitching. So I plan on doing these type of videos every single month. So this is like April's best of list, and I obviously Randy Johnson's #1 in the game. I'm curious as the months go on if I still consider him to be #1. You know, one of the reasons why Randy's #1 is because you haven't seen his release a lot. He's never been in MLB The Show. So now that he is, you know, a lot of people are taking a lot of time to get used to him, including myself. But his release point is per 9s, a 5-pitch mix, having a slider and slurve combo that has such a different degree of speed from 91 versus 81, as 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Also with outlier on there as well. I mean, all of the quirks and all of the attributes line up Randy Johnson, just money spent starter and the best starting pitcher in the game. So one thing about this video is that it's all going to be my opinion based. So if you disagree with me, first of all, feel free to disagree. Comment why you disagree, because I would love to hear that feedback, like specifically in the comment section. But as far as no money spent goes, when I'm talking no money spent, I'm talking about players that are attainable like relatively easily through programs in the game where we're at in April. I might say a collection guy right now is no money spent in like June or July, because you've had so long to work on getting those cards that now they're no money spent. But for right now, I'm focusing on face of the franchise program, and I'm focusing on Casey Mize specifically. I know a lot of people think Logan Webb should probably be in here, but because Casey Mize hasn't been a top end diamond in a while, people don't see him as well, me specifically. And I've pretty much only used this card on Hall of Fame difficulty in ranked seasons. I have 22 innings logged with them, 3.27 ERA, 1.18 whip for ranked seasons. That's pretty respectable. And I really enjoy Casey Mize, and he's my #1 no money spent starter. Now, when I talk about budget players, I'm talking about guys that stub-wise are easily attainable. I think Jack Leiter at 8,800 stubs, as he is right now of recording on April 25th, is that attainable? So if you have that lying around, I think you should pick up Jack Leiter, because I think he's not only a great budget beast starting pitcher, he's arguably the most underrated starter in the game to me personally. From topping out at 96, 97 to going all the way down to 70, like mid 70s to upper 70s on that curveball, coupled with great per 9s and my overall success with Jack Leiter as well. I'm really high on this card, and he's my #1 no money spent. No, not no money spent. Budget, excuse me. It's been a long day at work. #1 budget starter in MLB The Show 22 as of right now. Now, I mean, it would be borderline inexcusable to go through starting pitchers as of right now and not mention the most honorable mention of the entire video in Shohei Ohtani. I really don't have to say much. You know what he can bring pitching wise. I love his cutter specifically with about 69 break, nice, but also the slider with 99 break, and obviously flip it over, 100 power stats. I mean, you couple all that value in a starting pitcher, you got to have Ohtani in your rotation for sure. Definitely not the 88. This one I would have definitely, but he's the honorable mention at starting pitcher. Now, this could be interpreted a couple ways when I go into money spent relievers. Right now, there just isn't a lot of relief pitching in the game for me to like go crazy and say I'm getting followed on Twitch while I'm not live. That's kind of wild. There's not a lot of relievers in the game for me to say who my best like money spent player is, because obviously you would think Kenley Jansen here. I just, from what I've seen from him in ranked seasons, I feel like we've seen Kenley so much that I'm personally getting really used to facing him. And a guy like Steve Cishek available this early in the year as well, primary sinker, he's got the break that you just love on all these pitches. So I'm really high on Cishek, and he's my #1 money spent relief pitcher. Now, going to no money spent, I jokingly talked about how I thought Chapman wasn't as good as he was last year, and really he isn't. Going back to what I was saying about the value of relief pitching right now, we don't have a lot of lefties as well. So Aroldis Chapman, I mean, he's got to be the best nobody spent reliever, because to get in this value, theoretically getting him for free from the face of the franchise program, Chapman got to be in your bullpen for sure. And then as far as budget beasts go in the bullpen, he doesn't have a changeup, but when we're talking about budget beasts, I mean, sinker, slider, cutter, all with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball as well. Blake Trinan is a really solid reliever. He's been really solid for the last couple years, and he should be in your bullpen if you're looking for a budget beast. Might even need him when you're doing money spent and stuff like that, because when I'm talking about money spent, nobody spent, and budget, one of the values of all this is that you might be nobody spent in some aspect, and you need some help with a budget guy in another part, because you put all your money into one position or two. So this is a very helpful video for everybody across all spectrums of positions here. And then as far as an honorable mention, I will be mentioning Adam Ottavino. I know there's a lot of other relievers you could mention here, but I'm only picking a couple for every position. And Adam Ottavino, 5-pitch mix. He does a good job of hiding his arm slot as he's throwing the ball. You got cutter on there. You got a primary slider. All of the fixings that make a really solid reliever that can also pitch to lefties pretty well with that slider cutter combo. Adam Ottavino, my honorable mention for relief pitching. Now, going into position players, I gotta tell you guys, I mean, I know people think Adley should be the #1 money spent catcher. To me, it's bar none Joe Mauer. Getting that contact, that swing, that defense, and that power all at one position. I still think he's the #1 catcher in the game. I know you can make some arguments to Gary Carter, some other guys like that. I personally am gonna lean on Joe Mauer as the #1 money spent catcher. Now, I might be reaching a little bit by calling Adley Rutschman the #1 no money spent catcher, because you do have to spend quite a bit of stubs to get all the prospects with Adley. But when I think of no money spent, I think of people who grind the game consistently offline, and if you do that through mini seasons and conquest, you should have enough things required to get Adley on your team. So that's why I'm mentioning him as the #1 no money spent catcher. But I get where you disagree with me there. Great contact, great power, good defense, not as good as Mauer, but Adley #1 no money spent catcher. And then as far as budget beast value goes, I'd say 85 Yasmani Grandal. But if we want to go a little bit further to say budget beast, implying maybe spending no stubs, going to the BR program and getting this will cost you nothing. You literally just select a card going through the BR program, and you get this Yasmani Grandal for free. Obviously, speed, contact significantly lower, but still power gets the job done. Either one of those two Yasmani Grandals would fall under my budget beast category there. And then honorable mention catcher's got to be 91 overall Jorge Posada. The contact, the power, the swing. A lot of Posada I really like. Probably should have put him maybe up there with Mauer, but I'm personally going to lean with Joe. But Jorge Posada, honorable mention at catcher. Now, I'm going to get on my high horse here and say if I had the money to get the #1 first baseman in the game, I'm picking Albert Pujols over Frank Thomas personally. You know, you look at the secondaries on defense. I know you might not be factoring that into a primary first baseman, but I just like to swing a little bit more. And I got to tell you, from a lot of people that I've seen, Frank Thomas is not generating a lot of exit velo right now. So for that reason, with it being April, I'm going to say 95 Albert Pujols is my #1 money spent first baseman. And then as far as no money spent, I think you can't go much better than Josh Bell. I personally might even like Bell more than Pujols because of his contact and power at a switch hitter versus just being a righty. He's got a good swing. I've had a lot of success with him. Batting .340 with 10 home runs so far, and a little bit of BR, but mostly in ranked. I've been loving Josh Bell. Now, again, with saying budget beast, I know we're insinuating some things, so I'm assuming that you got your pre-order pack, and I'm assuming that you went with somebody, maybe sold them, and now you're going to sell for Ryan Howard. But I think Ryan Howard is arguably, like, not only the best budget first baseman in the game, he's up there with being the best first baseman in the game. With his swing, the exit velo he produces, the power that he has, the success that I've had with him in the short time this game has been out. I love Ryan Howard, and I think you guys will too. And then my honorable mention at first base is a theme I think you'll start to pick up on as the video goes on, is that you should be rolling live series cards as much as you can in your order because of the daily lives, or the daily inside edge rather, they get. So you should be looking at your inventory if you have these cards about, are they playing up in a way you like today? And Vlad, for example, up plus 11 versus righties, but he's going to be up versus lefties or righties every single day. He might even be getting overall boost with roster updates coming up here soon. So Vlad, definitely honorable mention at first base. Now, to me, there's literally no debate. The best money spent second baseman in the game is Chase Utley. I mean, getting all of this at second base is ridiculous. Getting that swing, all the stats you see with defense, speed, power, contact at second base, that's insane. Easily best money spent second baseman. And then as far as no money spent second baseman goes, I think that's Corey Seager. A little bit of downgrades in the contact and the power, lot more downgrades in the defensive ratings. And with Corey Seager, he's a shortstop, and you're like, why am I saying second base? Because if you're playing Seager, you gotta hide him at 2. That arm and that defense is a giant liability at short and third, especially in ranked seasons. In BR, not as much of an issue, but in ranked, you gotta be storing Corey Seager at 30. He's my number one nobody spent second baseman. Now my number one budget beast at second base is our first gold card of the video. I believe might have had one in the relief pitching, I can't remember, but Trevor Story is the same theme I talked about earlier with live series Inside Edge. Story might not be a gold for long, but here in April, easily best budget beast at second base. Getting that contact and power in a gold card with that speed as well is crazy. And again, defense not as big of an issue at second. You can hide him right there with some awesome stats. And then my honorable mention, can't forget about the Euro step man himself, Jazz Chisholm, having a great year, by the way. We can expect some more Jazz cards in the future, but for right now, this face of the franchise Jazz, the number one honorable mention of second base. I never thought I was going to be saying this because historically Michael Young cards do not play very well, but for whatever reason this year, Michael Young is playing really well for a lot of people. So I'm going to put Michael Young as my number one money spent shortstop. He also has a lot of secondaries that can help you out for kind of finding him through the infield if you don't want to play him at short. My number one no money spent shortstop in the game has got to be Francisco Lindor. Getting that defense at shortstop, you're hearing the same kind of monikers again. That defense, that contact, that power. Lindor has all of it and a butter smooth swing. Generates a lot of exit velo. You're going to love him a lot. And then my budget beast at shortstop is actually none other than Twins legend Carlos Correa. Now, he has actually been playing a little bit poor so far this April, so he might get downgraded a little bit. But for right now, Twins running an off day, so he's not going to have any inside edge upgrades. But, you know, with the standard ratings that are on here, not bad hitting stats and very good and above average defensive stats. You can put him at second or third as well. But Correa is my number one budget beast at short. And then for honorable mention, I could go to a lot of different players for this, but I'm going to go with Trey Turner. And I know that defense is terrifying, and I know I talked about that defense matters a lot, but Trey Turner cards just play way better than the stats show. This card's definitely another one of those reasons why. Definitely put him in your lineup if you're probably money spent, is where you're going to be getting him in there, but he's my honorable mention at short. Now hang with me here. My number one money spent third baseman in the game is J-Ram, and he wears 2 hats. He can play everywhere, and he's got a phenomenal swing. This is more than 2 things, but a phenomenal swing, great hitting stats, and like I mentioned, the live series upgrades every single day. You get him just to parallel 1. He'll have 75 defense. You can have bronze or a silver rather at any of those secondaries, but at third, you know, you can kind of hide him there. I'd like to play him at 2 more than anything, but J-Ram is nuts. He's only going to keep getting better as the season goes on, so that's going to keep bumping up his live series overall. So for right now, J-Ram's my best money spent third baseman. My number one no money spent third baseman is actually the new legend Ron Santo. Now, implying no money spent, this is grinding out the BR program, so I'm assuming as a no money spent player, you'll be doing that. He's got a really good swing. I've actually seen a couple videos of people doing really well with him. I've used him a little bit sparingly on somebody else's account, and overall, I liked him. Ron Santo is a pretty fun card. Good hitting, good defense, pretty well balanced. And then my budget beast, because he, as of right now, is not a very high price, is Spencer Torkelson. Getting that contact and power at third at not that high of a price. Now, he could be going up, but he's my budget beast at third base. And then my honorable mention has to be none other than Rafael Devers. I know the lefty power isn't that exciting, but overall Devers has a phenomenal swing, like literally one of the best swings in the game. Generates a ton of exit velo, similar to like Byron Buxton, which is why I love Buxton so much. But Rafael Devers is my honorable mention at third. Now let's begin with our best money spent outfielders. And number one, Grady Sizemore. Collect all the AL Central cards and you get this Grady Sizemore. What a great time to release Grady. You know, last year we got Grady at a time where he wasn't even one of the better outfielders in the game. Sizemore's never going to be a great 99 or a high 99 or a high 90 for that matter, but putting him out right now as a 93 with these stats, with that defense, a very, very well-rounded card in the money spent category. Now I would be absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs if I didn't mention Mike Trout among money spent. And I'm saying money spent because I don't know if you looked at the market, it's down a little bit right now, but he was up like crazy earlier today. Assuming some people flipping cards or whatever that were maybe transferring stubs, but Trout is every year is the best live series card in the game. He's got an unbelievable swing, most well-rounded outfielder in the game at 95 overall. He plays up to 97 with his stats today on inside edge alone. If you parallel him, even higher. Mike Trout, number 2. And then number 3 is easily Roberto Clemente. And I know some people get scared of the power ratings. Clemente was so good for me last year, and I am really enjoying his card so far this year. 125 contact out the gate is important for 2 things. One, there are a lot of pitchers who are not very good right now. So 9 times out of 10, Clemente's gonna have just a watermelon for a PCI. He's got the defensive ratings. He's got the speed. I mean, Clemente can do it all, and he should definitely be in your outfield if your money spent. As far as no money spent goes, I'm basically going to name my 3 best face of the franchise outfielders, beginning with Byron Buxton. Generates crazy exit velo, has crazy speed and defense. I don't know what more you could ever want from a card, especially at 90 overall. To have all this packaged in one card is absurd. Next up for no money spent, it's got to be Kyle Tucker. I mentioned kind of the same thing as I mentioned with Buxton. Speed and defense, contact and power, all that in a 90 overall card that you can get for literally just grinding the face of the franchise program is ridiculous. He's got to be on there. And then finally for Cody Bellinger, because they put on all the outfield positions and it wasn't just left field, right field, and first base, it was at launch, Bellinger's got to be in that considered best no money spent outfield. If you're basing off my list here, I would go Buxton in center, and then Tucker in right, and Bellinger in left field. Scratch that. I'd put Tucker in left, Bellinger in right, want his arm in right field a little bit more. Now, beginning with budget beast in the outfield, Hunter Renfroe's BR card from the first program. That power and that defense, like in an 83 overall, is crazy. I say he's a budget because you could have gotten him through the program. You still can buy him through the market if you have not gotten him yet, but Hunter Renfroe's number 1. Number 2, and someone I would consider to be arguably the best left-handed bench bat in the game because his swing is just unreal, is Yordan Alvarez. I have him personally as one of my bench bats on my God squad because of what I mentioned. The guy just hits the ball. I don't care what your defensive ratings look if your hitting ratings look that good, especially as a budget outfielder. Definitely want to pick up Yordan. Kind of going along the same vein as Yordan Alvarez here, going as far as budget outfielders go. Teoscar Hernandez is not playing today, but when he does play, he's going to have great plus attributes batting wise, and why I would definitely consider him to be in your outfield if you're doing budget beasts. And with this rounding out the video, I want to showcase my lineup in case you guys have not seen it yet before. But this is the lineup I'm currently rocking right now. I got a couple guys that'll be making their debuts here soon. But overall, I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I appreciate you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.